Now let's see if we can deal with here for a while. I don't know how much time I got left, y'all, but like I tell you, I got to move with the spirit. Trying to stay with my notes and be disciplined. Halloween, the original night of the living dead. You want to talk about that or you want to move on? You sure now? You just being nice. Okay. Halloween means all holy evening, or as you say, Holy Sun evening. And the sun was very important to them up there in Europe that didn't get much at the time. It was the eve of All Saints' Day, November the 1st, and it was October the 31st, was the Druidic New Year. There was a group called the Druids who was supposed to be practicing the knowledge that came out of the Nile Valley in ancient Kemet, which they would now misnomer Egypt, but anything that the white man gets his hands on, he has a way of demonizing it or turning it around. We never see things the same way, and you wonder why you can go in a meeting with white folks, sit down, use the same language, and come out with a different idea of what occurred. Because you don't see things the same way. You don't feel things the same way. But you come out with tears in your eyes. Well, yes, they did commit some crimes against us, and they did shoot the young man in the back of the head, but we talked with the governor about it. We talked with the mayor about it, and we believe that something will be done because they said that they believed in peace and justice too, and we said we believed in peace and justice. And that's all they had. And we stand out there crying about it because we believe in that stuff. It's our nature. Peace and justice don't mean the same thing to him. Peace means as long as you do it my way. Justice means just us. That's what it means. I have to keep checking on you that you're all right because I have been put out of places. On this, the Druidic New Year, you got my back, Brother Eli.
We got your back, brother.
They said that at this time, the earth would open up and the dead and demons would come out of the earth. This is how their New Year went. You got to understand the psyche of these people. I study European history very carefully. I know who I'm talking about. I ain't trying to get along with these people because I know what I'm dealing with. I know their history. And I know even when they try to do right, they can't. So I ain't getting caught up in that trap on the outside chance that the ones that are trying to do right may do right. I can't take that risk. There's too much at stake. I'll work with you if I can. Treat you like a human being as long as you treat me. I don't want to eat with you. I don't want to party with you. And I damn sure don't want your woman.
Jeff.
And you better not be looking cross-eyed at mine. In ancient Britain and Ireland, this Celtic New Year was called Samhain, S-A-M-B-A-I-N. At the end of summer, they would have these huge bonfires on the hilltops to frighten away evil spirits. These people lived in fear. One of the things you have to understand about Caucasian thinking, about Eurocentric thinking, is that its primary motivation, let's get into a little behavioral science here now. Its primary motivation is fear. Read your Bible. What does it say? Fear God. Why would I fear my Creator? The cat that wrote that mistranslated the book, put it in the context of his own worldview, which was fear. A God-fearing man. What kind of fool are you? If you fear anything, I don't want to bother with you because we get in a crisis, you're going to come up short. It was believed that on this sinister and eerie night, ghosts, witches, goblins, black cats, fairies, demons of hell roamed about the land, and the souls of the dead revisited their homes. Now, you know, we always, like our brother did, pour a libation before we have any type of gathering and invite our ancestors to be with us, don't we? We want our ancestors with us. We're not afraid of our folks who have passed on and crossed over, because Africans in their right mind don't know nothing about no death. We don't experience death.
Yes, sir. Talk about it.
We have the last rite of passage, a transition from one level of, white folks may die, because, I mean, their energy ain't plugged into nothing. It's not a part of the original energy that was here on the earth for millions of years. It's a strange energy that rose out of a catastrophic happening on the earth. The last glacial period, the last ice age, these strange creatures come up. So you might fear death. I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't be showing my stuff either. But we ain't like that. Well, we shouldn't be. Yes, we're sad when they pass on because you miss them, and we know how to grieve just like we know how to rejoice. But we welcome them. Europeans did not want their ancestors to come back to their house. So on the 31st, when the ground opened up and the dead came out, people got to putting on masks and costumes because they were trying to be something else. They didn't want their dead ancestors to recognize them. They put jack-o'-lanterns out there to frighten them away and goggles on their church. I thought Jesus could keep the evil spirit away. But no, they put goggles on the church to keep the evil. And y'all out here buying some of these churches, white folks out with goggles on them and wonder why you're having all these negative things happening around you. You done bought up into some witchcraft and stuff. And so when the ancestors, the dead, would come back to them, they would tell them, give me something to eat, or I'll burn your house down, or I'll do you harm. And that's where trick-or-treat came from. And here you got your babies out here begging somebody for candy and telling them trick or treat. Don't know why you're doing this dumb stuff. Teaching them to be beggars, something you can go buy for them, and what right do they have to tell a person, if you don't give me something, I'm going to do something bad to your property or to you? What right do they have to do? And it's gotten so bad, you know it's dangerous, fool, that you go out with them now. But you got to do it. I'm asking you why? Why do you have to do it? Ask yourself, why do you have to do it? That's more money you got to put out on these different costumes and things. Well, we're going to make it black. Somebody can go out dressed as Malcolm. Man, Malcolm was a serious man. I won't be bothered with that foolishness. And in Europe, it was the one day out of the year that the people consulted Satan for advice. That's right. There was no distinguishing between Satan and God and Jesus. None of that stuff is clear as you think it is now. With these white born-again preachers now, they seem to have some clear definition. They didn't have that in Europe. It was all, they feared the devil and God and all of it. What they feared was the aristocracy. Okay, let me tell you where I got that from, since you don't want to listen to me. White folks wrote this in the Encyclopedia Britannica, published in 1990, volume 5, page 646. Check. Because, you know, I know you take the white man word. During the 16th, as late as the 16th century, on this night, people would gather in church graveyards, dig up graves, put the skulls around in a circle, and dance around them, trying to keep the evil spirits and the living dead from coming after them. This is in the church graveyard now. Where'd I get that from? Another white man, Dr. Basil Davison, in the book African Empires, published by Time Life Books. Now, Halloween celebrations were introduced to the United States in the late 1800s by Irish immigrants and hooligans who put their accentuation on trick-or-treat vandalism. That's weird, because it got nothing to do with you. Got nothing to do with you. And you have nothing to do with it. Take that money and invest it in something, will you please, since you don't know what to do with your money? If you took all this money you spent at Xmas time and on these holidays and invested it in just a CD, you'd be better off. But if you invested it in your community and building up your community, if groups got together and invested it in their communities and in the business in your community, you'd be like, I might lose my money. You done lost it when you done gave it to these white folks. That's right, that's right. You ain't gonna see it no more. And these Koreans, they ain't gonna give it back to you. Can you give me a job? No, nigga, we downsizing. The gnomes, elves, brownies, and fairies of European mythology were actually the Skrallings. That's S-K-R-A-L-I-N-G-S of Scandinavia. That's what they were called. They were wise and technically advanced Twa people from Africa who lived in many parts of ancient Europe. Don Luke, Early African Presence in Early Europe, page 222, where we get that from. The Europeans had such a dread and fear of this little black man's superior knowledge that it caused them to be regarded as magical and mystical beings. Those of you who are familiar with opera and the words of Richard Wagner, the ring cycle is about these little black men who had made this ring, this magic ring. That's what it's all about. Our knowledge was feared and always has been feared by white folks. They fear us more than anything else on this earth. Check. Dr. Wilson points it out, their greatest fear is the fear of genetic annihilation. And they fear the black man because he has the payload of melanin that is the greatest on the planet to implant within the womb of the black woman. And we are still, even in our depressed condition, very fecundant, to use a sign. We have a lot of babies. Okay. Now let's deal with the black cat a minute. I'm trying to get through all these holidays, but just let me finish on Halloween. I'll get to the others, all right? Just briefly touch on it. What is the black cat that y'all be about to break your neck? I've seen people hurt themselves. Running from something that is actually a part of your culture. What does the black cat represent? It is the symbol of the Kemetan, or Nile Valley, misnomed Egyptian, female cat-headed deity called Basteti, or Obasti. And she was the guardian angel of the hearth and home and a symbol of good luck, not bad luck. What did I write in book 2 of African People in European Holidays and Genocide? The irreconcilable, the Barashango theory of irreconcilable opposites. What is good for them is bad for us. What is good for us is bad for them. So you have no meeting ground. Check. There. Everything that they have ever encountered of ours, they have taken it and turned it to something evil and demonized it. This black cat was also associated with the Nubian lioness war goddess Sekhmet, whom they call the Sphinx, who was held in great affection by the general populace of the Nile Valley because she was said to guard the entrance to their holy land in the ancient world. Adoration of this original African deity was probably brought to the British by the Roman legions, who were very in love with the place they conquered. They conquered it militarily, it conquered them psychically. They called it Egypt, it was ancient Kemet. And then it was incorporated into Druidic mythology. I don't have time to really go into background on the Druids. I do cover it in the book, some of it in African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide, book 1 and book 2. The black cat was a favorite house pet of Druid priestesses. And that's how it became a symbol of evil and bad luck, because they were in direct competition with European Christian mythology. And I want to put emphasis on the word Christian mythology, because what Europeans taught us about Jesus has nothing to do with historical reality. Check. It is mythological. And you is believing in mythological stuff and talking about all this good it's doing for you and building all these churches in your communities, and the community continues to go down. Where is the power of it? That's all I'm asking you. I'm not picking on your religion, your belief system. Where is the power in it? If it's all that bad and all as wonderful as you say it is, how come our communities remain in the same condition? Let's deal with the witches a minute. The witches is directly related to the fact that the wisest of all women in the world at one time were black women. The knowledge of astronomy, the knowledge of agriculture, the science of agriculture, the science of mathematics. All these sciences were brought into the world by African women. Read my book, African Woman, the Original Guardian Angel, and I document that, and I also have it on the tape out there, Black Woman, Queen Mother of the Universe. And white women who were taught by black women were wiser than white men. And in medieval Europe, white women were feared for their knowledge. It was also feared because they could do something that white men could not do, that white men really wanted to do. And that is, they could have babies. And this is something that a white man has always wanted to do. That's why in England now they've come up with a way of interjecting the embryo up into the anus so that it will catch onto the side of the intestines and the man can have a baby. The white boys are something, man. Yeah, I mean, they're doing that in England. White man want to have a baby. Black man ain't never want to have one. Say, sister, we worship you for having it. We applaud you. The first idea of God on earth was Mother God, because anybody can go through this, gotta be God.
That's right.
The white man say, I want it all, I want to do it. And since I don't have the power, then I will control you and the child. Can buy and sell you at will, but that's another subject unto itself. And any woman that could outthink a white man was called a cunning woman or a witch, which most white women could at that time. And when the Pilgrims left there, when they were run out of there by James, what did they do when they got here? The witch burnings in Salem.
Same thing.
Women who knew how to cure with herbs and all that kind of stuff, man, they was witches. You sisters run around here with all them herbs and what's that, golden seal and all that. They'd have burnt your butt up. They were obsessed with it. And then there was the legend that witches could turn themselves into black cats. We know what the black cat represents, right? And this came about because of the long association of cats with women. And the cats were associated with women, as were many animals, because they were generally the protectors of animals, because they were into agricultural science and not killing the animal. That's how that came about. Now, the witch's broomstick. I think this is one of the last things on Halloween. You still with me?
Yes, sir.
Am I holding you too long? All right. Now, the broomstick is an indoor domestic implement for cleaning the house, and has always been a symbol of woman, because the house means mother. That's what the word house in ancient Kemetic language means, mother, because the house was an extension of a woman's womb. That's why the first houses were built in the round, not in the square. White folks came up with the idea of square houses. We built round houses because it was an extension of heaven. And you know you don't want to get me started on that. And you know Dr. Bill was my teacher. And we know where heaven is. This brother must know where heaven is too. That baby swinging off of it. I know where it is. Lord, and I'm so glad. And I love to be born again. And I'm very spiritual about it. I come in a state of reverence and praise to worship at the throne of grace. And I love to pray a long time. Brother Kwame Ture said, you got to bring something to get something. You understand what I'm saying, brother? You dealing with the divine temple of the universe, so when you come ready to stay with it. I'm through with that now. It should be remembered that cleanliness and implements used for house cleaning were considered to be evil by medieval Europeans of the Middle Ages. They were evil. Wherein an African, if you came into their house and they felt that you brought a negative vibe, and now I know y'all, now I want you to raise your hand because I know y'all know about this, would throw salt around and sweep it out the door. How many know about that? I know you did. Europeans say, don't sweep the dirt out or you sweep up the good luck. Let me tell you where white folks I got that from. The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Mythology, Religion, and the Unknown. Volume 2, page 351. You can find it in the library. The tradition that associated smart women with witches and with flying broomsticks probably evolved from the fact that many female rites of passage ceremonies that had to be done in secret used brooms in their ritual dances. And that's where they got this thing about them flying around on brooms. Now, vampires and werewolves, I got to deal with this. How could I finish without you? Ow! And when the Scythians went to war, according to that scholar Joel A. Rogers in his book From Superman to Man, they went to war buck naked in black capes. And the first person they felled in battle, they bit them in the neck and sucked blood out of them. And the Greeks went to battle with the helmet, a shield, and a black cape, buck naked. I can't fight with them niggas. In my young days when I was wild, be caught in some place where I had no business being, I couldn't fight till I got the mess whipped out of me till I could get my pants on. Then I could do go wild. But these white folks were fighting buck naked. And why? Because the first person they felled in battle, they committed a homosexual act with him. That was total conquest.
That was the goal. Very tight.
So when we go to prison, we don't do that. Not conscious African people don't do that. You go to prison, you shut down. You get spiritual. You take control of yourself. Because the one doing it to the one is just as much as a faggot of the one they're doing it to. And how you get any pleasure out of that? Ain't nothing can replace a black woman. Nothing. And one of the old English words for mankind is werewolf. V-E-R-E-W-L-F. Because, you know, white folks had a thing with the dog now. That's why that name in German, Wolfgang, Wolf this and Wolf that, comes from the Vikings drinking beer and chanting, Wolf, Wolf, Wolf. The story of Remus and Romulus. They still have it sitting in Vatican City. A big iron-cast statue of a she-wolf feeding her children. They suckling on her breast. Their mama was a wolf. The word God is used in the Bible should never be used by black folks because it's the word dog spelled backwards, because one of the first deities that Anglo-Germans worshipped was a dog.